Okay, everybody, welcome. Happy Tuesday evening, and welcome to our monthly Edgar Cayce on. Tonight, we are going to talk about the importance of living a well-rounded life. We have Miss Dora, everybody's favorite nurse, with us here today, that's going to apply both the Cayce readings with modern science to give us some ideas about what it is that we need to do in order to make our aging process a lot easier. These are multiple things that we need to do and should be able to do for ourselves. So we're going to learn what it is that will help us age properly. Throughout this presentation, if you have any questions, please hold them to the end, and Dora will gladly answer all of them at that time. So without any further ado, the lovely and talented Miss Dora Loera, RN BSN. And the crowd goes wild.
Yeah. Well, good evening, everyone, and welcome to this lovely presentation where we will share all we know about living a well-rounded life, according to the Edgar Cayce readings and other sources that I have used, including my own life. So, disclaimer first, the main source of information used for this presentation are the Edgar Cayce readings, but I've also used other sources, and all of the information presented here is subject to personal interpretation, and we invite you to continue to research this topic for your own clarification. So, the well-balanced life. The foundation for wellness is a lifestyle that honors your physical, mental, and spiritual state. Wellness comes down to the choices you make on a daily basis. These choices will bring you either closer to or further away from balance. These simple and basic practices will have a big impact on your overall health and well-being. And my favorite Edgar Cayce quote is, "Spirit is the life, the mind is the builder, and the physical is the result." The well-balanced life. So what does Edgar say about the living a well-balanced life? In this reading given in May of 1942, he says, "Keep a normal state, not being an extremist in any direction, whether in diet, exercise, spirituality, or morality, but in all there, let there be a coordinate influence. For every phase of the physical, mental, and spiritual life is dependent upon the other. They are all one." And this is a favorite quote from Mahatma Gandhi that I thought I'd put in here. I found it when I was about 31 years old, and I've kept it ever since. So this is very well aligned with what Edgar Cayce readings say about living a well-balanced life. And this is watch your thoughts. So watch your beliefs because they become your thoughts, and your thoughts become your words become your actions become your habits, and your habits become your values become your destiny. The essentials for a well-balanced life, and there's 7. So number 1 is connection to a higher power, and that is a very important, probably the most important of all of them. Number 2, strong sense of purpose through work or service to others. If you're lucky enough to have a job where you can have service to others, and that's good, but either way you can find it. Number 3, it's nurturing connections with family and friends. Number 4 is a well-balanced diet and ensuring proper eliminations. And I had to put that in there because Edgar Cayce is very strong on proper eliminations, keeping your body clean and detoxed. Number 5 is daily physical activity. And 6 is quality sleep. Number 7 is relaxation and stress management, also very important. And I had to put a slide in here on the Blue Zone study. I don't know if anyone has ever heard of it, but that was a National Geographic longevity study that was done in the year 2000. They identified the 9 common factors among the world's longest living people. And the people living in these Blue Zone areas reached age 100 at about 10 times higher than in the United States. So the lifestyle factors are very similar to those given in the Edgar Cayce health readings, and these are the ones that they identify. Number 1 is they move naturally, so exercise is not really exercise, it's moving naturally, whether walking, whether gardening, whether just getting out and doing your favorite activity, whatever it may be. It involves a lot of physical activity, but more natural, not like forced, like going to a gym and working out. It's more natural. It's built into their life. And then 2, they have a high sense of purpose. 3, they have distressing routines. 4, they stop eating when they're 80% full. So these aren't people that are eating huge meals like we tend to do in the United States. They're very moderate eaters. Number 5, they eat mainly plant-based diet. They do have meat, but for the most part, their diet is just plant-based, and most of their protein will come from like legumes, like like beans and garbanzos and soybeans. They are also moderate wine drinkers, except for the Seventh-day Adventists in Loma Linda, California. And by moderation, it means like maybe 1 to 2 glasses daily, but 8 ounces each. And number 7, they have strong community ties. So they're they get out, they talk to their neighbors, and so they have a lot of friendships built through their community. And family comes first with them. Most of the time you'll find multi-generation households, like they'll have their grandparents living there along with, young children. So most of their elderly don't go to nursing homes like we have here. And the last one is they have nurturing friendships. So friendships are very important for well-being. And so I thought I'd share that with you because I found that very interesting. And it's also part of one of the presentations that I presented in sometime earlier this year. The one that didn't make it on YouTube. And so here's your life as a pie chart. So you can draw this kind of pie chart yourself to find out how much of each activity is filling up your week. So how much time are you spending with friends, nurturing friendships with God or church, meditation, family, recreation, rest and sleep, and work and school. So there should be balance in that. You can't be working all the time and then sleeping all the time, because that's not balance. So it should be a nice little balance. And this, you kind of have to look at it and see, okay, what am I doing too much of? What am I not doing enough of? The pie chart will help you visualize your lifestyle and maintain the life balance that will help you to stress-proof your life in times of crises. Because if you have enough friends and you have, God, meditation, church, and you have family, and you exercise and you eat well and you rest, when you're going through really tough times in your life, it's going to be very helpful to you. And then this is me looking at the Milky Way in Payson, by the way. And so this reading was given April of 1942, and it says, take time to be holy, for holiness is oneness of the mental, spiritual, and the material body. And then in a reading given to a sales manager of December of 1942, he asks, give me an outline to follow for best business development with due consideration to my mental and spiritual development. And the reading says, as indicated, there must be a budgeting of time. Take time to recuperate physically, mentally, and spiritually, not merely by outward saying. For if these are not done for this entity as well as any other entity, the entity becomes either self-centered or lopsided in his estimates or values in a material or life experience. Take time to be holy. Take time to pray. Take time to rest. Take time to study, to be an associate with individuals, to have the proper associates. Take time to work and work like the devil when you are working at it. But as you profess, keep holy in the service of God and man. So it's always service, he emphasizes, service to others. And so here's the most important things in connection to a higher power, whoever you choose as your higher power. Number 1 is surrender. So surrender to your higher power. Engage in daily prayer, meditation, practice, and ask questions to your higher power, universal consciousness. Listen and be still. Number 2, ask and you shall receive. Ask your higher power with love and acceptance to show you the best solution to your dilemma for everyone involved. So it's never really just about you. It's always for everyone involved, for the best for everybody at the time. And be open. So the most important step is to listen to the still small voice that speaks to you from universal consciousness. Be aware of the messages that may come as signs, symbols, and sounds. They may come through strangers, maybe a song that keeps playing in your head, and even through the radio, if anyone still listens to the radio. And they may keep your heart open to repetitive thoughts, feelings, or dreams. Dreams are very important in trying to figure out where you're going in life, or where you have been. Also, pay attention to your gut feelings. Your gut feelings may give you some of the most powerful warnings that something is not right in your life. And I strongly believe in that. It's when you ignore them that, you're going to look for another lesson in life and redo it all over. So listen to your gut instinct. And then number 4, keep the faith. So trust the divine guidance, act on it, and go with the flow. Trust that the universe has your back and that changes will move at the pace that's just right for you. So you can't rush life. You have to take your time and have faith. Making choices that go against your gut instinct will keep you stuck in life and will lead to mental and physical exhaustion. Don't waste your willpower on situations or relationships that are not aligned with your life purpose. So that requires doing a lot of introspection, just kind of meditating and listening to your gut instincts. And remember that faith is like a beacon that shines bright and points you in the right direction. There will be difficult life situations that require that you take a leap of faith. Take a deep breath and trust that the universe knows exactly what you need and it will take care of everything one step at a time. So this involves a lot of patience. And here's another reading given April of 1938. It says, one's religion, one's love of the fellow man, one's love of the Creator is a living thing, not just form only. So practice, practice makes perfect. And then this reading given to a 25-year-old secretary, March of 1929, she's basically asking again about life purpose. And so he says, these have been set in, remember the Sabbath and to keep it holy. Then one day must be kept in that way that will feed the mental and spiritual life of a body. All work and no play will destroy the best of abilities. The life must be well-balanced life, not lopsided in any manner, to bring contentment, not necessarily be satisfied, for that is to become stagnant, but to find self in whatever position self occupies, and in so setting self in this direction, all must be working in coordination and cooperation, which was very big in the readings. We all have to work together and coordinate and cooperate. Now we have life purpose. What is purpose? In this reading, purpose, as Edgar Cayce says, is the awareness within each soul, imprinted in pattern on the mind, and waiting to be awakened by the will of the soul's oneness with God. So your will is the power you have to do whatever you got to do in this lifetime. And life purpose. So what drives your life? Life purpose or passion for life can be found in your career, in your job, and hobbies. Some of the most successful people are those who love what they do for a living. However, most of us are not that fortunate. So there's many other ways to find passion in their lives. And you can volunteer, you can go out and talk to people, you can get involved with your family, you can help others. It's always in the service of others. Being of service to others, like volunteering, is a great way to find your passion. In its most simplest form, life purpose is having a reason and being able to articulate that reason that you wake up every single day. And this reading given to a 39-year-old female in January of 1944, he says, take time first to be holy. Don't let a day go by without meditation and prayer for some definite purpose. And not for self, but that self may be in the channel of help to someone else. For in helping others is the greater way to help yourself. And do take plenty of time for rest. Do take time for plenty of definite labors, but the time to work, to think, to make contacts for a social life, and for recreation. So again, all these readings just emphasize just balance and everything. And in this reading given to a motion picture operator in December of 1943, he says, and as he has given, in all thy getting, my son, get understanding. This is putting proper emphasis in the proper places, and do not become sidetracked by things that would pertain to material or spiritual alone, or things of the body, or things of the heavenly force. For you grow to heaven, you don't go to heaven, so you grow to heaven. I like that. It is within thine own conscience that you grow there. For there first must come peace and harmony within thy purpose, thy ideal, thy hopes, thy desires, thy wishes even must be in harmony with thy ideal, if you would make the experience in the earth of value to thee. So practice what you preach, and really just not read about it, but go out there and get involved and help others. Because you grow to heaven, you don't just go to heaven. And then nurturing connections. This is a picture of my family, maybe one-fourth of them. Yeah. So the philosophy of the Edgar Cayce readings emphasize the importance of the home, not only as an ideal environment for raising children, but also as a way of service by parents. Yes. And that can mean your animals and pets too, by the way. So in a reading for one person, Edgar Cayce said the home is the greater development for any soul. And we all know why, because we're born to families. We don't get to choose our families, so we can learn from all of our relatives. Even the most difficult ones, they're the ones that will teach you the most about yourself. And learning patience and understanding and cooperation and all the virtues. And here's another one. And so human beings are social creatures by nature. So creating meaningful relationships with family and friends is highly beneficial for our overall well-being. Meaningful relationships, especially with family, take time and energy. They provide us with plenty of opportunities to practice patience, kindness, and giving of self. And again, on nurturing connections, we have a reading given in November of 1941. This one says, friendships beget friendships, love begets love, making self beautiful is to be beautiful in the lives of others. So this is all, what you give is what you get back. And being of service to others is the same thing. And then in this next reading given November of 1939, count thy friends as the greatest of thy opportunities. No soul may have so many friends that it can afford to lose a single one. Yet there are obligations, there are duties that are combined with such associations. These never neglect in thy thought or thy activities. So again, friendships. He says friendships are good for us. They're nurturing and they can be there for us when we go through really tough times. That's my family making tamales. And then I like this one. This one, Steve Cole, who's a UCLA epigeneticist, and that's someone that studies the environment and how it affects us ourselves. He was quoted in a 2013 interview with Pacific Standard magazine. He says social isolation is the best established, most robust social or psychological risk factor for disease out there. Nothing can compete. Yes. And so pick your friends carefully, because healthy habits and bad habits and attitudes are infectious. And have a minimum of 3 good friends, the more the better. And a measure for loneliness is actually having less than 3 good friends that you can count on a very bad day. So nurture those friendships. Family is also great to have, but if you have friendships, and that means you have more resources to go to when you really need to talk to someone or you're going through a tough situation. That's my mother in the pink dress. And healthy diet. So I'm not going to go over a lot of this because I can go on for years about a healthy diet, but that was my lunch one day right there. Yeah. So the Edgar Cayce readings advocated a diet based on whole foods, preservative-free, with an emphasis on whole grains rather than processed ones. More fish, more fowl, and lamb, more than red meat. He really didn't like red meat that much at all. So more leafy greens, vegetables, more leafy green vegetables versus starchy ones, and a diet composed of 80% alkaline producing foods and 20% acid producing foods. So the alkaline is all your fruits and vegetables, your natural stuff that grows, and then the acid forming are more like your proteins and your starches and all your sweets and all your favorite snacks. That's acid forming. And emotions too. Emotions can be very acid forming. So the Edgar Cayce health readings, they most often recommended as far as diet is avoiding red meat and alcohol, except for red wine. He actually said that red wine along with dark bread was almost like a food. Very good for you. And so white bread and fried foods. Also a preference for fruits and above ground leafy vegetables over starches. 1 meal per day should be raw vegetables. So if you have a nice big salad, that's your raw vegetables, because that's going to give you alkaline, that's going to give you fiber, minerals, and phytonutrients. And so a high ratio of this is again the 80-20 alkaline foods over acidic foods. So food combinations were also central to a healthy diet, and Edgar Cayce readings often told us to avoid eating fruits or citrus fruit with grains and starches. And what's our most favorite breakfast is juice with pancakes and oatmeal. Bad combination. Don't drink the orange juice. Maybe have some other kind of juice, but not together with it. And also proteins with starches. That's also really hard on your system, and it will make you more acidic because they require two different enzymes to break down. So you almost cancel each other out, and you could end up with a little bit of bloating and dysregulation of your gut. And coffee, he recommended coffee, but not with milk and sugar, because that almost turns it into a poison. And really, coffee has a lot of antioxidants, but when you put milk and sugar in there, you kind of undo all of that. So it's like a dessert then. And in this reading given to a female in June of 1938, he says, keep normal physical activity. As to diet, as to the health rules and regulations, all of these are better than all of those drawn from fanciful combinations that wreck portions of the body. And what I take from that reading is probably talking about these diets that we go on, these, like the keto diet or all these diets that are coming through, and they're not very well balanced. So keep it simple. Just eat whole foods, have your fruits and vegetables, drink plenty of water, and you should be okay. Maybe a snack every now and then, but really limit the snacks because we tend to lose count of the snacks. And the health readings often recommended practices to keep our main elimination pathways working on your detoxification. Number one, there's 4 major elimination pathways, and that's your colon, your bladder, your lungs, and your skin. Your skin's like a huge organ. So colon health, at least 1 daily bowel movement per day, at least 1. And if you are taking in enough fiber, and if you're drinking enough water, you shouldn't have a problem with that at all. But he also recommended using colonics, enemas, and vegetable laxatives as needed. He actually recommended colonics quite a bit because they're very cleansing to your colon. And number 2 is the bladder. So bladder is huge. Just drink water. 6 to 8 cups of water a day is what's recommended. If you're out there and you're sweating a lot, you might need more. But if you can do at least 3 or 4 bottles, then you should be good. So start your day with a cup of water and a little fresh squeezed lemon juice, and that is like very cleansing and flushing for your kidneys. That's like a kidney flush in the morning to get rid of whatever was accumulating overnight. Now you flush it and you start off your day great. I do that every single day. I don't ever drink coffee first. I would have to flush first, and then I drink coffee or whatever else I'm going to have. And then your lungs. So keep your lungs healthy by moderate and regular exercise, because that supports the body in eliminating through respiration and perspiration. And deep breathing practices are very, very good for your lungs, because you're talking about expanding, and you expand your lungs and you actually get rid of more carbon dioxide and you get more oxygen in, so that all that oxygen goes through your entire system. And skin, again, the largest organ. So for the skin, he recommended steam baths, whirlpool baths, sitz baths, and ensuring adequate hydration. Again, sweating is very therapeutic, by the way, and we live in a great state that we don't even have to have a sauna. You can go outside in the summer and just sweat to death, or turn the AC up in your car and you got a built-in sauna. And then here's this reading given to a 38-year-old male, August 1926, and he says, keep the eliminations in the system, that is through the intestinal tract, acting normally and properly, even through, I believe is what that was, enemas and cleansing of the colon is resorted to, which is well for anyone to do, for through same many reinfections take place by overtaxing the system with drosses from fermentation, as takes place in ascending or transverse colon. And so very true. So if you eat improper food combinations, if you're not moving enough, if you're not drinking enough water, stuff gets stuck in there, and it's going to have a hard time moving along up your colon and across and down. So that's why you want to exercise. You want to eat enough fiber and drink enough water so that that stuff can move through your colon and not sit there and ferment and feed really bad bacteria. And then leads to constipation. And then I see this in the hospital all the time, and people get constipated because they don't drink enough water or they're not moving enough. And I mean, we can have really bad outcomes with that. Just being constipated, you can end up losing part of your colon. Very easy. And in this other reading, a 2-year-old child was told, or probably the parents were told that, do not allow the intestines to become clogged. Do not produce an excess of eliminations through these channels rather bring and keep near normal coordination in the eliminating systems, and that is the alimentary canal, the kidneys, the liver, the respiratory system, and the respiratory portions of the body as thrown off through the skin itself, and so as much in the open air as possible as well, but not be a fanatic in any one of these. Rather expect a normalcy and act in that direction. So when he's talking about the respiratory portions throwing off through the skin, it's when you're, say that your liver's not eliminating well, or your kidneys are not because you're really dehydrated, then everything starts going through your skin. That's like the backup organ. So if you have like skin issues, acne, then you're probably not, if you just drink enough water, that will probably be greatly helped. So your skin is a backup organ. Anytime you have skin breakouts, there's something going on when you're not, probably number one reason that I see in the hospital all the time is dehydration. Pretty much, I'd say a high 90% of people that go into the hospital are dehydrated. First thing you do is you hydrate them. And that can take care of a lot of simple things. And then we have daily physical activity. So engaging in a daily physical activity regimen will significantly improve your overall health. Regular exercise lowers blood pressure, improves blood sugar levels, strengthens the muscles, joints, and bones, as well as mental performance. This reading given, I don't have a date for this one, but he says walking is the best exercise, but don't take it spasmodically. Have a regular time and do it rain or shine. So actually, I think walking was one of the most common readings he gave for physical exercise because it's so easy to do. And if you do it out in the open versus a gym, then you're getting fresh air, well, as fresh as we can get here in Phoenix, but you're also in nature and talking to people, and so it's really good for you. And you can go at a fast pace. You can, just make it take whatever pace is comfortable for you, as long as you get out there and do it. I mean, walking is the easiest exercise. You just really need comfortable shoes and pretty much it. And then, so the key to physical fitness is consistency. You have to commit to practicing your form of exercise, whatever you pick, on a regular basis. So pick your favorite and commit to walking, yoga, dancing, hiking, swimming, gardening, sports, and strength training. I mean, there's a myriad of things you can be doing. Lots of choices here. Oops. And this reading given January of 1935, he says, the less activities there are in physical exercise or manual activity, the greater should be the alkaline reacting foods taken. Energies or activities may burn acids, but those who lead a sedentary life can't go on sweets or too much starches. These should be well balanced. So basically, yeah, I mean, if you're sedentary, you're not able to move a lot, then you gotta start eating a lot more fruits and vegetables, because those will be very alkalinizing and hydrating to your body, and they'll help your gut to, they'll help your bowels to move daily. And so if you're not going to do anything, then you got to back off of all the sweets and all the goodies that we love, because they'll build up in your system and cause a lot of problems for you, throw you off balance. And that's me at Havasu Pie. And here's a reading. This is on sleep now, so moving on to sleep, very important. This reading given to a female in September 1931. She asked regarding the physical condition, should body have more rest? And he said, should have more regular rest and more regular activities. See, and that you saw that in a lot of the readings where he would always end up with C, like, do you see? So sleep is essential for healing and regeneration. Scientists at the Sleep Foundation organization have found that adults that are 18 to 64 need about 7 to 9 hours daily per night, and those over 65 need a little bit less, 7 to 8 hours. People who get 6 or fewer hours of sleep have increased inflammatory markers in their blood, and this increases risk for pretty much everything, but mainly the cardiovascular, diabetes, and various cancers and neurodegenerative disease. So sleep is very important for healing and regeneration. And so here's some tips for good quality sleep. If you exercise daily, you're going to tire out your body and you're going to get deeper, better quality sleep. And remove distractions from your bedroom. That's bright clocks, TVs. Make sure your windows are, closed so that you get nice quality sleep and you don't get your rhythm, your circadian rhythm will stay pretty steady. And then make and stick to a sleep schedule. Very important. Your body loves routines. And turn off all the electronic devices, all your phones and iPads 1 hour before bed, because that light will disrupt your circadian circle again. And eat dinner early, not too late, at least 2 hours before bedtime, so that way your body's not digesting while you're resting, because then you're going to have a lot of nightmares. And make sure you don't drink a lot of water before bedtime, or you'll mess up your dream routine and you won't remember your dreams, which are also very critical to your figuring out of your life purpose. And relaxation, here's my twins at the beach, Adam and Daniel. So in this reading given to a female in February of 1944, she asked, how may I best obtain mental relaxation in order to be of greater benefit to my children and my home? And the answer is by relaxing. This should be a preparing of self for a physical relaxation and then physical stimuli. Have sufficient recreation and sufficient stimulation and recreation. This allows the body to react in nearer normal levels or normal manner. So basically, again, relaxation is actually staying busy. If you work out a little bit more, then you're going to be more relaxed because you probably lost a lot of your stress hormones that are circulating in your bloodstream. And that in itself will relax you. And so de-stressing routines like attending church services, meditating, taking naps, spending quality time with family and friends will keep you healthy. Chronic stress leads to inflammation, which is associated with every major age-related disease. And in a reading given in January of 1930, he says, worry and fear being the greatest foes to normal, healthy physical body, turning the assimilated forces in the system into poisons that must be eliminated rather than into life-giving forces. So when you live in fear and just constant anxiety, you're living like you're in the fight or flight, system. So that is not good to stay on, because when you're always trying to hide from the tigers, you're not going to be regenerating your body. You're going to be in protection mode and you stay stuck in there and nothing really circulates. And then another reading given in April of 1928, he says, all work and no play is as bad as all play with no work. So it's always in balance. And then this one on relaxation, and I termed it Thoughts or Things. So some Edgar Cayce readings on relaxation and health, and I'll share these, and that's emotions, both positive and negative, moved as electric energies through the nervous system, affecting the entire organism. So your moods have vibrations and they affect every single cell in your body. And worry and fear are the greatest foes to a normal, healthy body, again, because of the same thing. And for thoughts are things, and they have their effect upon individuals, just as physical as sticking a pin in the hand. So yes, your thoughts can be very corrosive to your body, or they can be very healthy for your body and help you get through things. So think positive and act positive. And then so the message in the bottle, and eat plenty of fruits and vegetables, eat plant-based foods, eat beans. Beans are really good for you. And move naturally by doing your daily housework, yard work, gardening, walk your spouse, walk your child or your pet, wash your car. That's more ideas for activities. And drink wine moderately and responsibly with friends and food. Engage in spiritual practices, attend church services, meditate, join Bible study groups like we have here at this church, plenty of them. And family first, so spend time with your family. And build a nurture social network of healthy-minded friends. Very important also. These lifestyle factors have been shown to have been associated with a longer life. And my last slide here, find your soul's purpose and bring meaning to your life. The Edgar Cayce Foundation Association for Research and Enlightenment, founded in 1931 with the purpose of helping people to transform their lives for the better. Join a community of people who are striving to do as Cayce suggested and make the world a better place because you live in it. And now questions.
Dora, thank you very much. That was a very great and informative presentation. Could you speak a little bit about the Blue Zone and
The Blue Zones Project.
where specifically the Blue Zone lies? I believe it has something to do in and around the island of Okinawa.
Okinawa and Costa Rica and Loma Linda and some couple of places in Greece, I believe. There's probably more. Actually, they've expanded it more since 2000. But the Blue Zones was a big project that was taken on by the National Geographic, and then Dan Buettner, who was the head researcher. So they set out to many places around the world. They, identified people that were living into their 90s, hundreds, but with really good quality of life, not just living to that, but high quality of life. And so they looked for the common denominators, and why they were living such long, healthy lives. And that was basically most of these places are like small islands or small little communities, but they, most of them have very strong family connections. They have friends. They get involved in their community, and their diets are mainly plant-based. They still eat meat, but not as much as just the whole grains. Nothing. So very minimally processed diets, if any, minimal at all, because they're and also a lot of fruits and vegetables. A lot of those people have their own gardens, so they were living off of their gardens, and that's the activity that they probably have built in, is that they walk a lot, they work in their gardens, they get out and talk to people. Very connected families. So these are the people I was talking about. They live in multi-generational homes where the grandparents are still there with the grandchildren. And so they found that these people, and they have also, of course, the very high sense of purpose. And they also attend church services. So that was basically it. And that's why in Loma Linda, where there's a big community of Seventh-day Adventists, and they're mainly vegetarian or vegan. So yeah, that was mainly it. There's a lot more to that, though. That was one of my presentations in July that didn't make it to YouTube, but yeah, very interesting.
The other question that I had for you, and I've seen this both with both my father and my uncle, is that as people age, they basically, especially if they move late in life, they tend to not be as active socially. And that's a very big point from what I have found. And do you see a lot of that in your patients
And
in the hospital where they're just basically
yes,
shut-ins?
yes, and that really affects their mentation. I mean, if they have any kind of maybe, early dementia or Alzheimer's, that's going to exacerbate it, because social connection is huge in maintaining whatever faculties you have. So it's like use it or lose it. So connection is really important. Yes, and also moving around and doing whatever you can still do. If you can walk or if you can move around in a wheelchair, then you try to maintain their activity as much as you can so that they don't lose it, because that's also very important.
Dora, when it comes to things like taking vitamins, uh, I have heard two schools of thought that you need to keep taking vitamins on a daily basis in order to keep resupplying those nutrients that maybe you're not getting through your diet. But then I hear if you continue to do that, then your body will quit making those particular nutrients.
Not vitamins. Maybe if you're taking hormones. If you take hormones, then your body does stop making the hormones, whatever you're trying to replace. But with vitamins, I think that the most important thing about the vitamins that you're taking is that they're high quality. Otherwise, you're just going to urinate them all out,
So
and it's kind of a waste of money.
vitamins, I should stop taking those?
No. If it's a really good quality vitamin, yeah, and I really, always look at what's in that vitamin. If it's more natural things, there's a lot more you can do, but I think vitamins are important, just high quality ones.
One of
Yes.
the things I noticed in the talk is that in terms of balance, it seemed like that there needed to be a consistency. For instance, in walking, you should pick a time and do it,
Yes,
rain or shine, that sort of thing.
Right.
I'm curious as to if that also applies to the diet. If this is
Yes.
Tuesday, I'm having fish. If it's Wednesday, I'm having lamb. If it's Thursday, I mean,
I think that the most important thing is maintaining like just times that you eat normal more than what you're eating, because variety is really important. So, if you have your fish, but like just variety is really good for you of all, and trying to include as many fruits and vegetables in your diet as you can. But I think the times that you eat are probably more important, is maintaining a daily routine for even your meals, because it's like your stomach gets used to it, and they might function, optimally at that if you maintain a schedule for that too.
The other one that occurred to me has to do with exercise, because everybody's got a Fitbit or something like that on these days.
Yes.
And so the idea is the number of steps or the number of calories or what's your heart rate. I mean, there's so many different ways to be able to measure that.
There is.
I don't know if it's better to just continue to do the walking, or if like some days you're doing 20, 30 minutes of aerobic exercise and the next day you wind up walking a few miles or something like that. How do you maintain balance? in
I
that?
think that, I think that you know, if you like to walk, I don't really think it matters as long as you're doing something with your body that you enjoy. It shouldn't really matter. I mean, like for me, I'll go walk sometimes and I do yoga pretty much regularly because I really need it. It really helps me just calm down. But walking, up to recently I was swimming still, but I don't know if I'm going to be able to do that too much longer. But I don't think it really matters as long as you enjoy it and as long as you're doing it. Yeah, that's the most important thing is just maintaining that routine. Even if it's not exactly the same time every single day, you can still, you know, as long as you're not going at 10 at night or something, then.
I had one for you. I was really
Hmm.
concerned about what you said. The depletion of the coffee
Hmm.
loses its
The antioxidants?
yeah,
Yes.
by adding the creamer. By
Yes.
adding the it's off. Oh, by adding the creamer, I never knew that. I mean,
Yeah.
I knew not to use much of it
Hmm.
because of the sugar and stuff, but
Yes.
I didn't know it depletes that.
Yeah, it kind of inactivates because the sugar and the cream, yeah, and it's in many readings, but I already knew that even before the readings, so
hmm So no matter
that's,
how little or what brand,
yeah.
it's all
I
the
mean,
same.
if you're gonna put anything in your coffee, it should be all real. I mean, if you're gonna use sugar, I wouldn't use just the aspartame containing sugars. I'd use a little bit of sugar in moderation. And then if you're going to use creamer, I wouldn't use the powders because they're full of who knows what that is. It's a science experiment. Use real stuff if you're going to use it in moderation.